Last time on Canon Think Big, I spoke with Zhang Ting Jun, the co-founder and director of the Chain Reaction Project. We discussed the challenges of starting a not-for-profit organisation. This time we'll be discussing the challenges of keeping it running and its people motivated. My name is Neil Moore, and this is Canon Think Big. Everyone's very passionate and full of inspiration at the start of a business, but how do you maintain that passion and inspiration 3-4 years later? That's
a good question, right? I mean, how you keep something running once it's up. Because I think in the beginning, your challenges are different. In the beginning, it's how do we start, you know? And sometimes I don't think in the beginning you even have an idea of what that finish line is going to look like. So I think the challenges now really are more sort of looking at scalability. You know, do we want to scale? How big do we really want it to be? And also dealing with other people's expectations now, because now that we've had some success, you know, a lot of people say, oh, well, why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? You know, are you going to grow your team? You're at 4 right now. What about 10? What about 20? You know, and it's actually sitting down and saying, do we really want all that? And making sure that we're still staying true to our mission, what keeps us excited, you know, what keeps that passion burning, and making sure we don't stray too far from that. I've been the face of TCRP now for a long time, simply because I'm the spokesperson. But TCRP cannot be about me. So it's also changing the narrative slightly, and having people get used to the idea of TCRP being more about our catalysts, you know, as opposed to the 4 co-founders and that initial starting story.
So tell me, who is a catalyst? What kind of person are they? How can I become a catalyst?
I don't know about you. I think maybe you can. No, honestly speaking, we have all kinds of catalysts. We've got a little 8-year-old boy now who's coming on our next adventure. It's a half marathon, which he's running, and he is, you know, he's put together a little PowerPoint, and he's taken that to friends and family to tell them about the cause and what he's doing. And you know, he is a catalyst. You know, and then if we look further up, we've got others who have donated their time, their expertise, you know, to TCRP or our charity partners, whether it might be through branding or legal support or accountants, you know, and these are catalysts as well.
TCRP group is always people from very, very different ages, from different countries, from different backgrounds, doing different jobs, but everyone comes together around a specific cause. The last trip that I was on was to the Philippines in Manila. After 2.5 days of very hard work, I've never worked so hard in my life. We finally managed to put up a playground for the kids. And the most rewarding part was right at the very end. There was a big ceremony, and I think the mayor was there to cut the ribbon. And then the kids just ran down onto the playground. And you forget the blisters that you have, you forget about, you know, the pain in your back, you forget about the hot sun. Just seeing those kids running around and enjoying the playground was immense.
Have there been any points along that journey where you sort of felt you couldn't go on, it all became a bit too much for you?
Now, there was a little girl at the center by the name of Sarah, who had come in because she was suffering from severe malnutrition. So she was close to death when she came in. But you know, over time, and we were there, we saw her recovering, we saw her get stronger, and she was the cutest, happiest little kid. And so the next time we came back to the center, after the playground was up, I said, oh, you know, where's Sarah? And you know, they told me that, well, they found out that she had TB, and that it didn't look like she was going to make it after all. And you know, for me in that moment, I just felt so, I almost felt silly. I felt like, what were we doing? You know, why, like, what had we accomplished in bringing over a playground that now the kids that we were trying to help couldn't even play on? Like, Sarah wasn't even there, right? You know, it just felt, it really made me doubt and question myself, and it just, you know, and I think what it was that sort of helped me overcome that was a realization that we're not going to be able to help every kid, you know, and that maybe the donation of a playground wasn't the perfect donation, but it was making a difference. And I guess it's helped me stay focused on what we do with TCRP and recognizing that, you know, we might not be giving in the perfect way, but we're constantly challenging ourselves to see how we can do it better, to learn from experiences like this one.
I'm sure there'll be people watching this who are inspired to start their own organization. So what would be your advice to those people?
Before we started the Chain Reaction Project, it overlapped with my work at CNA for a good year, you know, where I learned to see whether or not this is really what I want to do. how we were going to start it. You have to have some kind of a plan. And the second thing is the importance of a team. I think it's really tough to go it alone. And I think if you have support, you have people backing you up, and I don't just mean financially, I mean, just emotionally as well. I think it makes a really, really big difference.
The concept behind this series is thinking big. How does that apply to you and to the Chain Reaction Project?
In the beginning, when we were thinking big, we were thinking, let's change the world. And what we've come to realize over the last couple of years is that, changing an individual life is a really big thing too. And that collectively, if we can change many different individual lives, it's a good thing.
If people want to become involved in what you're doing, how can they do that?
Well, for TCRP, you can go to our website at www.tcrp.com. We've got a lot of adventures that are coming up. And if you find a cause that resonates with you, come join us, get involved.
It's no longer just a faceless organization that you're kind of like donating to. You can actually, as you think of the cause, you can think of faces, you can think of smiles, you can think of stories. It's much more personal and I think much more meaningful as well.
I'm so delighted that the world has got people like Ting Jun and who are taking the trouble to do more for the world. Ting Jun, thank you very much.
Ting, thank you so much for your time, for your stories, and for what you're giving back to the communities around the region. Thank you so much.